Are you looking to get ready, be prepared, and transform your financial future? Then you've come to the right place. This is the Get Ready Money Podcast with Tony Stewart, where Tony has insightful conversations with financial experts who are changing the way we think about money. Catch up on the latest financial trends and hear practical advice from Tony and his expert guests so you can build healthy habits that work. Be empowered with tips for implementing small changes that can have a big impact on your financial future. So sit back and get ready to hear from today's guest.
Welcome to the Get Ready Money Podcast, changing the way we think about money. I'm pleased to be joined today by Cathy Sikorski. Cathy is a speaker, elder lawyer, and author. In this episode, we'll be discussing Cathy's thoughts on how we change the way we think about money and why we need to laugh. Cathy, welcome to the Get Ready Money Podcast.
Thanks. Why we need to laugh. I love that.
Well, that's what you're about, and I love it. And, I think it's so important. And I think it brings an originality to your thoughts and everything, and to the ideas that you impart. So, before we get into that, let's back up just for a minute so the audience can get to know you. Tell us a little bit about your origin story. What is your origin story?
So I am an elder lawyer, which means I deal largely with issues in the elder law community, which is about nursing homes, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, finances around all that, retirement, etc. It does not mean I'm an old lawyer. I just want to put that out there.
First off,
the reason I am an elder lawyer is my origin story, which is there wasn't even elder law, by the way, 30, 40 years ago. It wasn't even a thing. It didn't exist as an area of practice. I had my grandmother, who was 92, move in with me when I had at that time a 2-year-old, a husband and a dog, and she moved in with me. And that started my caregiving career, not my job, my caregiving outside family caregiving career. And I became a caregiver for 8 different family members and friends. And because of that, I had to learn about all these laws that surround what happens when somebody gets old, somebody gets sick, somebody needs money, et cetera, et cetera. So that's how I became an elder lawyer. And then I moved from largely practicing that into educating people about it, writing books about it, and doing blogs and doing these wonderful podcasts where people invite me to talk about these amazing issues.
that's fantastic. And you do a great job of that. You've written books, you talk, you're on podcasts all over the place. And I know you do comedy. And, so, tell us a little bit about why is it important to laugh and to smile when you do these things?
Literally, my blog, which I started, it's kind of been on suspension, but I started almost 10 years ago, was called You Just Have to Laugh, where caregiving is comedy. Because I would find myself not only telling these stories about my crazy 92-year-old and 2-year-old ganging up against me on a regular daily basis, but my friends were telling the same stories about their elder care issues. And I realized, it is funny. It just is. And it's not rude and it's not unkind to talk about the humor part of what you're going through, because honestly, it lets off steam. It helps you understand that you're all human. And it's a great way to keep your core in shape, is laughing. So all of those things are good for you. So why not? Why not take the humor point of view than any other?
Now, I'm with you. I think, it sort of breaks the ice a little bit when things get a little too serious. It allows you to recenter yourself. I'm with you 100%. I think humor is really important, especially when you're talking about serious issues like caregiving,
Yes.
law, all the other areas of the financial world, as there's not a lot of humor in it. Yeah.
But there could be.
There could be. But anyway, that's a whole other topic. The humor of the financial services industry.
Yeah. I'm going to work on that.
There you go. The illustrated humor. So, let's talk about it. You've written, 2 or 3 books. What inspires you as an author? What inspired you to write your most recent book, 12 Conversations, How to Talk to Almost Anyone About Long-Term Care Planning?
It wasn't hard to be inspired by this. I had written 2 books and I said I'd never write another one. Writing a book is hard, at least for me. And I was coming across constantly people saying, nobody wants to talk about this. Nobody wants to talk about long-term care. Nobody wants to talk about what is a nursing home cost, or should I even do that? Nobody wants to talk about planning for the future if I get sick, or if my mom needs care, or et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, you have to talk about this. So let's give an avenue to people about how to talk about this. So each chapter of this book, the reason it's called 12 Conversations is each chapter is a conversation with somebody important to the long-term care issue. So yourself starts with you talking to yourself about this, and then your parents, your mom and your dad separately, because men and women are very different in their take on this. And your family members, your siblings, but then your doctor, your lawyer, your work, your financial advisor, all the people that are having an impact on this long-term care issue. If they don't now, they certainly will, and definitely in a crisis. What do you want to know from them, and what should you be talking about? And I think by having a roadmap, it makes it less daunting and less uncomfortable to be able to have a little roadmap about what kinds of questions should I ask and what should I be looking for.
Yeah, no, I love it. Giving people a roadmap lets them find their own journey, but know where the journey should go. So it provides the tools, and I love how you've done that. I have to give a shout out to one of your other books because I just love the title. Who Moved My Teeth, right?
Who Moved My Teeth? It's such a steal of Who Moved My Cheese, right? Which you're allowed to do, by the way. But interestingly enough, Who Moved My Cheese, if anybody who's listening is in the business world, knows that was a big book in the 80s and 90s about how to adapt to change and crisis in the workplace, right? And this is exactly what we're talking about. Who Moved My Teeth? How to adapt to change and crisis at home in the caregiving world. So, yeah.
Well, and I think that's part of it. I think one of the reasons why people are challenged by long-term care planning is because it is a huge change and it's inevitable, which makes it all scarier because you can't control it. You don't know when it's going to happen. You have some idea, but varying degrees.
Yes,
on it, right?
yes. And just like we presume that death is going to happen, so we have life insurance, we have wills, right? Everybody seems to like to concentrate on those two things. And yet still we have people who don't even do that. People don't even want to make any kind of a leap of presumption that maybe I will be sick enough to require a care situation, whether temporarily or permanently. But you got to step in, folks, not even just for yourself, but for your loved ones, because you're going to be called on to help.
Yeah, and maybe that's the important factor is that if it's not you, you're probably going to end up helping someone because, coming from an insurance background is that was always the thing out here is exactly what you said is it's not going to happen to me. I'm healthy. I take care of myself, whatever else. And, and maybe that's a thought is if it doesn't happen to you, there's a good chance it could happen to your loved one. And
exactly. Not happening to you in this arena is not happening to you. It's still going to happen to you because you might have to step in to help. In fact, it's very likely that you will.
Definitely. And one of the things I said with insurance, the whole point of insurance is you hope you never need it, but you have it because it relieves the burden not only to yourself, but to your loved ones if something should happen. So
it's huge in my world. That is huge because in caregiving and in long-term care events, your loved ones are always the ones who are actually probably going to suffer more in terms of cost and the value of what insurance will bring to the table.
Yeah, and and I know that's what urged you. And as Cathy, as you mentioned your vlog earlier, with your adventures with your mother, they're very funny, but they're also very poignant in that like this is reality.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Tony's talking about the TikToks I do with my mom.
Oh, okay. Oh, the TikToks. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, that's okay. And my mom will be 95 in September. And my mom lives down the street from me, lives in her own house, and just bought a new car. So my mom's a positive thinker.
Yeah, no, she is. They're great videos, so I'd urge anybody to check them out. So anyway, Cathy, let's dive into the get ready questions.
Let's
So the first one is, what basic money concept do you wish people knew?
I really, really wish people understood that you can love someone quite deeply and want to be of service to them, but there is a literal financial cost to care. You must be prepared and look at the financial side of caregiving, because as much as you love someone, the cost is not just to them to take care of them. There's going to be a large cost to you in time and money, and even maybe retirement dollars and security. So you have to understand there's a big financial side to what I do that people ignore because they need to do something out of love.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's the unfortunate thing is that money does come into it, but money has a role in so many parts of our lives. So, that's a
Every
wonderful thing.
every part of our life. Yes.
Yeah, to
Money's
some degree.
the deal.
Money is the deal,
Money's the
unfortunately.
deal. Yeah.
So yeah, you can't escape it. So, what is one simple thing that you can do each year to set yourself up for financial success?
Something that I did not have as a young person, which is sign up for your 401k at work and or your IRA contributions. If you are a working person and you're listening to this and you haven't signed up to make contributions, the absolute minimum, whatever that may be, if you can do that, please, I'm begging you to do that, because that will make a huge difference in your life 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years down the road. One little thing that you can do. And if you have a match at work, which means your employer will put some money in, matching whatever you're putting in up to a certain percentage, that's free money that you're walking away from by not signing up.
Yeah, I think that's such a valuable tip is when you're young, you think, oh, that's forever and that'll never happen. And I'll always have time. But I think it's just one of those things is that, as you point out, as you do a little bit here and a little bit there, and sooner or later, you're rolling, but it's getting started.
And it hurts. You look at $100, a paycheck or whatever, and you think, oh man, can I really afford that? But if you have to do the minimum, figure out what that is and do that, but you will never, ever, ever regret it. And then, like, just to continue that for 1 second, make sure that you take your 401k money with you or your IRA money with you when you move to other jobs, because we have a very transient work life now, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And we have a lot of millennials, like 25% of this family caregiving cohort of 40 to 60 million people are millennials, 25%. So you guys are in a place where you are probably working and you can take advantage of this. So please, 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 please do it.
Yeah, 100%. I'll underline that, emphasize it, do it.
Do it.
Great advice. So Cathy, what is one habit that people can change when it comes to their money?
I would really like people to stop thinking that money is scarce. There is an abundance of money out there. And it took me a very long time to learn this, a very long time to learn this. Just in general, I want you to understand that there's plenty of money out there and you can go get it. You don't have to limit yourself to one job or one way to make money. There's plenty of ways to do that. So, doesn't have to be your only job, and doesn't have to be the only way you can make money is going to this one job. So scarcity doesn't help us. In the caregiving world, I just want to bump that up one little bit and say, you can be paid for caregiving a family member that you love. There's lots of ways to do that. I'll give you a couple little hints maybe later, but I want you to understand that just because you love someone doesn't mean you can't make money doing it as well, even if you have another job.
Yeah, no, and I think that's wonderful advice is because I think sometimes, people talk about budgeting, and there's so much of a focus on the expense side of the equation that we don't talk about that people oftentimes have control over their income as well. And that there are little things that they can do. And those little things, just like with the IRA and 401k contributions, do add up over time. If you can boost your income by 5%, that can really help out.
Yes.
And then you can have your daily latte.
Oh my God, do not get me started on
that. We'll have to have a latte episode. So, let's talk about myths for a minute. What money myth are you trying to break?
Definitely that caregivers have to do caregiving work out of love and not get paid. That you have to give up your job, your Social Security, your retirement, your go part-time, that you cannot do a caregiving thing and get paid. And when I say that, I mean you can get paid for the caregiving part. So if in fact you have to give up your job or go part-time or whatever, there are vehicles, so here we are, that can pay you. You can have a caregiving contract with the person you're caring for. If they have assets, they can pay you. Just because you love someone doesn't mean they can't pay you for your services. Money is not an evil. Let's stop thinking about money as an evil and think of it as a resource to do things for the people we love, right? So if they have resources and they can pay you, they should pay you. They'll pay a stranger. Why not pay you? But there are also, and this is getting better and better every year, the government is actually coming out with more and more programs where family caregivers can get paid through agencies, et cetera, but to work for a family member who has no assets and be a caregiver and still get paid. And guess what this does, friends? It adds to your retirement. It adds to your Social Security. It adds to your income. That's a myth that you have to work for free for a loved one.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So I'm just curious, is that something where people can find more information on your website or in one of your books?
Oh, my poor little website is under construction, but definitely in my books, in both Who Moved My Teeth and 12 Conversations. There's definitely, the information about that. Yes, absolutely. And email me, Tony. Anybody can email me, Cathy.Sikorski@gmail.com. I know you're going to put that up later, but Cathy with a C, Cathy.Sikorski@gmail.com. If you have a question about this, email me and I will answer it for you.
That's awesome. And to everybody watching and listening, like usual, as Cathy mentions, is Cathy's contact information, links to her books and to her website and social media profiles, including her TikTok, will be in the show notes. So, definitely feel free to reach out to Cathy or to reach out to myself if you want to get hold of Cathy. So, Cathy, let's go in the time machine for a minute. What advice would you give your younger self if you could go back in time knowing what you know now?
Everything I already said. Money is not scarce. Don't be afraid to earn money. Don't be afraid to move around. Biggest thing, know your worth. You are worth. In fact, I think people do know their worth. They're just afraid to ask for it. So don't be afraid to ask for your worth, because I think you know it. You know your worth. Don't be afraid to ask for it, because if people won't pay it, those aren't your people. Go to the people who will know your worth and pay for your worth, because that gives you the ability to do all the things you want and need to do to make this world a better place when you're getting paid your worth.
That is awesome advice. I know I struggled with it as an independent consultant, setting my hourly rate, with that, I guess, is it imposter syndrome, where it's like, I'm not really worth it and I can't charge that much.
All of us, that's exactly where we go. And it took me a long time, Tony, to get there, a very, very long time, giving away too much, doing too much for free, and not recognizing that my value has value, and knowing when and where to ask for that, so that we can do things like what we're doing today, Tony, so that we can give back in a way that makes us feel good about what we've earned, and we can share with those who really need what we have.
Definitely. Yeah. So I would say this is amazing advice. So, if you're thinking about that at your job and you haven't gotten a salary increase in a long time, or there's other people in your department, and this is very common with women. The men who are getting paid more than you is, if you're doing the same job and you're doing it well, you have every right to be paid the same.
And
So go there and
honest,
ask for it.
there couldn't be a better time to move on.
That's true. You can always move on and do your own thing. As well, if you're not getting paid what you're worth, is because you deserve it. If you put in the time and you've got the education and training and everything else, I would say this is extremely valuable and ties into what you were talking about, with increasing your income. This is the easy way to increase your income, to be paid what you're worth and to
Be
ask
paid
for
what
it.
you're worth. And stop not bragging about yourself. Stop talking about all the wonderful things you're doing at work and how great it is and how you're bringing all of this to the table. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's awesome. So I hope this is helpful to everyone. So Cathy, to wrap up, what is your number one tip on changing the way we think about money?
It is abundant. Go get it. It's yours for the taking. It is not just for rich people. It is not just for who you perceive to be talented people. You are talented. You bring something to the table, and it is there for the taking. Make sure you get what is yours. And I just, of course, caregiving is always going to be my super hyper focus here. You can love someone and be paid at the same time. There's no price on love. None.
I love this. And I think this is what you said there, I think is just key that we have to remember is we all have talents and we all do bring something to the table, some unique contribution. And we have to remember that, but we also have to, be able to pick that out and understand it. But once you understand what you bring to the table, then you can use that in asking for what you're worth. So that's wonderful advice. And you can love someone, but at the same time, you also, deserve to be compensated. Excuse me, if you're taking time to give care.
And compensation is not a bad thing. Let's recognize that that's the way you can spend time with someone who loves you and wants you to be the person there. And you're willing to do that. And the way to do that is just dollars. Man, that's nothing. My grandmother used to say, there's a great way to end it. My grandmother used to say, if money is your only problem, you have no problems.
I like that.
Me too.
If money is your only problem, then I'm writing that down.
If money is your only problem, you have no problems. I use that to remind myself.
That is gold. I love that. So Cathy, as we wrap up, where can people learn more about you? We've talked a little bit about it. And where can they pick up a copy of 12 Conversations, How to Talk to Almost Anyone About Long-Term Care Planning?
I'm on Amazon. It's the easiest way to get my books. Go to Amazon, type in Cathy Sikorski. Remember, it's Cathy with a C. If you Google me, you're going to get pages and pages of stuff. So Cathy Sikorski. But you are welcome, if you are a listener and a viewer of this, to email me. Again, I will tell you, Cathy.Sikorski@gmail.com. If you have any questions that you would like to ask me yourself, I am more than happy to help you out.
Fantastic. And what's your TikTok handle?
It's Cathy Sikorski, I think. I'm pretty sure. Cathy, is it an underline? Cathy underline Sikorski? Yeah, but it's Cathy Sikorski. Everything is Cathy Sikorski.
That makes it nice and easy. I go with Tony Stewart also.
The good news about my name is it was easy to get because nobody has it.
No, I'm with you on that. So I don't have any advice for people who have names like John Smith. I'm not sure I can help you, but do something creative.
Yeah.
So Cathy, thank you so much for joining me today on the Get Ready Money podcast. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. These are great questions. And I love that you've brought it into this sphere of caregiving where people don't think about or talk about money quite enough. They really, really should. It's a focus that really needs some highlighting. And so I'm so grateful for you to bringing that today.
Well, and I appreciate your insights because I think that caregiving, as you point out, is like we're all going to be involved in caregiving in some role at some point. And it's something that we don't talk about enough, like so many things in the money world.
So true.
Yeah. We talk a lot about Bitcoin, but we don't talk about caregiving.
Ain't that something?
So on that note, thanks again for joining me. And thank you everyone for tuning in to the Get Ready Money podcast. Please remember to subscribe to the Get Ready Money podcast and change the way you think about money. Until next time.